It's an interesting story. I don't know whether I should really tell this or not, but I guess
we can edit it out, Jack, even the cussing if we have to.
Yes, this Monty had made a mistake.
Now he's talking about Monty.
Richie, who was the owner.
The ranch.
Monty Montgomery Harrison Wadsworth Ritchie III, if that's his real name. He's an Englishman.
He come from Miss Adair's son, right?
Yeah, Mrs. Adair's son.
Yeah.
So he made a mistake and he let C.H. Long go, who was one of the best range managers he had. He could work. He knew how to work men. He knew how to, and he ran that wagon right. And everybody thought a lot of C.H. Well, no, I never knew why Monty did, but he hired this guy, and this was Ab and Ben English were their names. And they took over and they come from South Texas, and they brought a bunch of Mexican cowboys with them, Hispanic cowboys.
Mexicans.
And they were wild as they come. Tom Blassingame, who was a real good friend of mine, who worked on that ranch and lived on that ranch for years, he said you could trail a drive by the dead cattle and the dead horses.
That's why the Mexicans used them.
And he said it was unreal. And said like to broke the ranch. Well, finally Monty got, I think he was about half afraid of old Ben and Al because they were mean son of a guns.
Imagine.
Well, I got a chance to get even with Ben and Al. I was managing a feed yard at Hereford, and we had cattle run. We leased a ranch out in New Mexico. And Ben and Al heard about it, and they came in. They just came in my office and said, "We're here to run that ranch for you out there in New Mexico. I understand y'all have leased the Fort Union Ranch, and a pretty big ranch. We want to run it for you." And they introduced themselves, and they just came in like they was just going to take over. And I sat there and let them talk, and finally I said, "Do y'all ever remember the J.A. Ranch down in Texas? Down around Clarendon?" "Oh yeah, we run that outfit." And I said, "Well, I remember it all too well. And I remember what you boys did to that ranch, so you might need to hit that door pretty quick.
Pretty dang quick.
Because there's fixing to be a pistol show up here."
That's right, Jack. That's right.
And they hit that door and they didn't come back. Because I would not have, they'd been, that just was out of my, I wasn't about to have Ben and Ab English.
Well,
I don't know if they're still alive or not, but if they are, I wish them well, but I don't never want to have no dealings with them.
All you got to do is stick that right there, Jack.
Yeah.
Up their nose about that far.
Oh, God, that'd be horrible. So anyway, that was kind of concluded that, and this was in the 50s. In 1950.
When did the feed yards, Jack, start in Hereford? What?
Oh, well, they didn't start till in the late 60s and 80s.
Where did the money come from, Jack? Do you know?
What money?
That started them feed yards.
Oh, it comes from all over. I'll cover that.
Okay.
We built a feed yard.
I know you
and
did.
we financed one from some people back east. Anyway, I had to go. I knew it was time. I was fixing to get drafted, so I quit down there at the JA's, and I had, for some reason, I got a deferment, which I didn't even ask for deferment. I was in college, I was passing my work, but I automatically got a deferment. So I had about 6 months. I didn't have nothing to do, and I wasn't going back to the JA's. So I went to work for the Texas Animal Health Commission.
Mm-hmm.
And they sent us down to Alpine, Texas.
Golly dang.
And
that's that 60 acres of cow.
That was to be the first bangs-free counties in the state of Texas. Jeff Davis, Brewster, and Presidio.
Now, I don't know what bangs is.
And that's clean country, and we tested it. I'd say we tested 50% of the cows in Brewster, Jeff Davis, Presidio, and 90% of them was bled, stretched out on the ground with a cowboy with a riata rope on. And if you don't know what a riata rope is, it's a rawhide rope, and Mexicans rope with. And they're very careful because they prize them, and they don't let them cattle hit them hard because they don't want them to break them.
That's right, and a sabo.
And they are.
Use that belly fat on them ropes.
Boy, they prize those riatas.
I've got one.
But
Keep them from getting hard.
They'd.
Yeah.
I had the needle, already ready with the number wrote on it, and it corresponded to the number that I was going to put in the cow's ear. Of course, they had a cowboy had the cow's front leg pulled back, and of course they had the two hind legs tied, double hocked. These guys roping today, they talk about double hocking. Them boys never missed. They double hocked on every time one. And I'd go down there, and I'd pull her head around, and I'd find her jugular vein, and I was pretty good on that vein, because that was a dangerous position I was in. And I hit her vein, and I'd get that, and I'd much more than pull it out till I hit that ear with that tag, because them boys was fixed to turn that cow loose. And I knew I better be moving.
How large were they? Full-size cows?
Oh, these were big Hereford cows with horns.
Probably weighed 1,200.
These big cows. These were big cows raised in that country down there on the 06s. This was on the 06 range. And that's a big outfit too. And they ran a wagon. And I stayed at the wagon part of the time. Well, anyway, I went off to the service and ended up in Korea. And that's a whole nother story. We'll try to catch that later on.
Yeah, and that's where all them medals come from.
I came back from Korea and got married.
A good-looking woman. Still a good-looking woman.
A good-looking lady waited for me. She didn't
See,
have to.
Jack, did y'all meet before you went to serve? I mean, went to Korea?
See what?
Did you and Freddie meet before you?
Oh yeah,
went to Korea?
We run around together and whatnot, and
She waited.
We were sort of engaged.
She waited.
And she waited around.
Dang, I don't know if I'd have waited for you or not, Jack, but
all right for you, Buster. Anyway, she waited around, and we got married. And guess what? We went from Clarendon, Texas. Where we got married at Panhandle, Texas. Our parents lived at Panhandle. We ended up at Fort Hood, Texas. I still would have had another year or so to do. So we ended up at Fort Hood, and
you got there pretty close, wasn't you?
That young lady she kind of lived to protect his life till she got hooked up with me. And she
I don't know if we were going for that or not, Jack.
we got down there to Fort Hood, and of course I reported in, and we leased a little old apartment, and and heck, we had a lot of fun down there. When I'd get off, get a liberty or pass something, we'd go do some things. We'd go down to Temple and different places. Went all over Central Texas.
Yeah.
It wasn't bad. And them guys would gripe about having duty at Fort Hood. I said, my God, folks, you ought to have been in Korea. Yeah. This is a nice place compared to that.
That's right.
I'd shut them up
Pretty quick, better.
Now anyway, I ended up there, and I have to stop and think. I've done so dadgum many things I've kind of forgot.
Well, we're trying to keep it chronological order, Jack. And we'll spend time on each segment of it, So after you got back, and you and Freddie was at Fort Hood. Yeah,
well, I went back to college, back to Texas Tech, and finished up my degree. And got a degree in ag. I got a degree in animal husbandry, and then it was animal husbandry. It's animal science now, but it was the same deal. And then I came back here to Clarendon and was teaching VOAG. And I'll be dadgum. I went to the post office one morning, and I got orders to report back to Fort Hamilton, New York.
Let me start with this. He'll get to this on down the road, but he's on the board of regents or the board of, what do you call that?
Clarendon?
I mean, what do they call that board?
Selective service?
No, that you're on for the college now.
Oh, Board of Regents.
Board of Regents.
Yeah.
He's on the Board of Regents, Clarendon College.
So,
anyway, I'm sorry.
Anyway, I had orders, and I had 2 weeks to report. Well, my son had been mourning in the meantime, and he wasn't too well, and I had to move my wife and my baby from Clarendon to Panhandle, where she could be up there by her folks to take care of her.
And that baby
and I spent a year back on the East Coast. What we were supposed to do, little did I know it when I left, but we were fixing to go tear up that Berlin Wall. We were getting ready. We were doing logistics work on destroying the Berlin Wall. Thank goodness that Ronald Reagan got it done without that.
Yeah.
Because it hadn't, somebody got killed.
Yeah.
Anyway, so much for military training, and I respect the people in the military. I was there long enough that I could have made a career out of it, because I put a total of 9 years in the active duty and reserve, but I didn't like the way it was. I didn't like somebody ordering me around. I kind of like to do my own ordering.
And he got good at it over the years.
So
handling men and his own businesses and.
We came back here to Clarendon and settled in, and about that time a fellow over at Wellington came along. He was a banker. And this man don't know this story. This is a whole different story. But he owned some big ranches. He owned a ranch in Collingsworth. He had holdings in Collingsworth, Childress, Hall, and Donley County. Had cattle scattered all over those areas. And he also had a ranch in Oklahoma, in eastern Oklahoma. And that was in Okmulgee and Ofuskie counties in Oklahoma. Well, I had applied for a job with him, but I never dreamed that I would ever get it. So my wife and I, we bought a little old house, and we were remodeling it and working on it, and all at once this big black sedan drove up in our front. It drove right up in my front yard. I thought, well, I wonder who that is. And it was him. He said, "Are you still available?" I said, "For what?" That's kind of the way I answered him. And he said, "To take over the management of my operations." And I said, "Well, I don't know." That comes sudden. He said, "Well, if you're ready to fill out this application and the job's yours, and I want you and your wife to come down there and look at the headquarters and the big house you're going to be living in and everything." So we went down there and met him, and we went out to headquarters. He had this beautiful 2-story house and had houses. It's kind of like the JA headquarters. Had houses all around it, and a set of corrals. Nice place, beautiful place. So
I said, yeah.
We took the job, and I was there 8 years.
I'm done, Jack.
And I ran both that ranch, and we ran steers, and also cows and calves and steers. We had a ranch in Oklahoma where we ran cows and calves on that ranch. And what really made me sweat was 9,000 producing pecan trees on that ranch.
Golly dang, Jack.
And I didn't know a pecan tree from a mesquite tree.
I didn't know.
And I tell you what, this cowboy had to learn a lot, and I had to learn it very fast. And anyway, I went up to OSU, and I didn't graduate from there, but I got a certificate from there that I went through their pecan short course.
That's Oklahoma State University.
Oklahoma State University.
Yeah.
Dr. Cross was the pecan specialist. He helped me a lot. I really liked that man.
Well, do you have people under you, Jack, dealing with them pecans? I know.
Oh well, yeah. Of course, I had to direct it. We had to spray them. We had to.
They had to cover them, didn't they?
Oh yeah.
Cover them trees when you
No,
sprayed?
we didn't cover them.
Okay.
No, they were too big. Lord, they was huge trees. These were 100-foot trees.
Did they have them shakers on the tractor then?
When we go to harvest.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
Well, he told me, and when he hired me, he said one thing. He told me, he said, "Your number one job will be to prove that that's the most productive ranch in eastern Oklahoma." And he said the reason is we're going to have to sue the federal government because said they won't settle with me on this ranch. And I said, "Why is that?" And he said, "Because the ranch will be underwater when they shut the floodgates on Lake Eufaula." We were on the Deep Fork and South Fork to the Canadian River, and all those big pecan orchards were on those rivers, along the banks of those
water.
rivers.
Yeah.
And he said, "It will ruin this ranch," and said, "I'm going to sue the federal government. They won't settle the way I want to settle, so I'm going to sue them." He said, "Your job will be for the next few years is to prove it's the most productive ranch in eastern Oklahoma." Well, I went to work on that thing. I was actually running back and forth. My son and my daughter, who came along later, called that motel room we stayed in there in Henrietta, they called that their little house. We stayed nearly as much there in that house as we did in one ranch. As we'd go down there and stay a week or 2 weeks at a time, and I'd take care of all the business, and I'd turn around and go back to Wellington and to the headquarters and get that place going. I wore out a pickup about every 6 months.
I imagine. Did you have somebody you could depend on at both places, Jack?
Yeah, I did.
Okay.
Up to a point, sure did.
Well, that's what I mean,
They had to have a lot of direction.
Yeah.
And that's why you had to plan things. That's just like the military or anything else. If you don't plan it and designate
plan.
designated authority.
Mm-hmm.
In other words, I'd say, look, you're in charge of this, getting these pecan trees sprayed. I want them sprayed, and if it rains on them, you're going to turn around and respray them.
Mm-hmm.
Well, do we have to? I said, damn right you have to.
Well, and if it rains a lot in Eastern Oklahoma,
the spray washed
yeah,
off, and the case bearers were going to take them.
That's right.
So, you know.
What's going to take them, Jack?
Huh?
What's going to get on them?
Case bearers.
What's that now?
Well, it's a little insect that it'll sting the pecan, and it ain't going to bite.
Okay.
And it's little, when it's little bitty.
Okay.
So, see, I learned all that the hard way, because I didn't know nothing about them. Well, actually, I worked for that man 8 years. And I think I did a hell of a job, because he won the lawsuit and got the settlement.
Good.
I asked him, I told him, I said, Mr. Donahue, I said, I'll tell you what, I've enjoyed working for you, but I said, I get to thinking that all I own right now is an automobile, and that's it. I said, you own the house I live in, you own the pickup I drive, I make a living wage, but I'm not making a whole lot of money to put aside to buy a house.
Especially family.
And I'm going to go somewhere where I can make a living. I make a decent living. Well, we'll back up and give you a raise. I said, no, that's not what I want. I want a percentage of the profit.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
I want to run this ranches like I have been, and all I want is a percent of the profit. We never did get no further, because he said, well, I can't do that. And I said, then that's the end right there. So I handed him my keys. I did. I stayed and shipped everything out that fall, because I got a job managing a new feed yard at Hereford, and they didn't want me to come out there till December. And they said, we don't need you till December, but we'll need you in December once you located and moved. So I went ahead and I said, I'll clean up your country, and I want somebody to count the cattle with me.
Yeah.
I said, he said, well, why? And I said, because
I don't want
years later somebody come along and say we were short 20 head of cattle.
That's right.
I said, who do you want to send with me? Well, he said, what about Buford? And I said, that'll be fine. I'll take Buford. Buford will be he'll do the counting. And he'll tally them and turn them in to you. And if they're not all there, I want to know.
That's
right then.
That's right.
Well, we went through everything, both ranches, and tallied all the cattle, and we were actually long instead of short.
Well, that's a good thing.